Guys, it's Vandy back again with another card fight Vanguard deck profile. So if you guys enjoy, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and donate to the Patreon. And let's get one started. Today, we have Bavsargra. Yes, the warrior maiden of the burning battlefield, if I remember correctly, the description I put in its fight video. The deck that came out a week ago. And you may be wondering why am I doing this now when at most it only has up to set 3 support plus its own trial deck cards. Well, you know, set 4 is not going to come out for a while, and because like some people who may live in Japan might want to like build decks before the set 4 comes out, I'm not so sure how the release date is going to work on that, but probably you're going to have a lot of time before set 4 comes out. I'm deciding to give it to those people who want to play the deck, and also to those that just want to proxy it, because we in America, I don't think we're getting the trial deck till fucking December. I don't think we're getting it until December. If I'm wrong, someone tell me, but I don't think we're getting it till December 24th, which is going to make a really bad late Christmas gift. But point is, I find the deck fun, so I've decided to share my current build with it so that everyone who wants to play it can play it with their own proxies, or if you live in Japan or if you're using Japan cards, wait like until next week I think it gets released to the public, so yeah, just wait till then. Let's go and get started. First up we have our starter and Sealed Blaze Dragon Arhinsa, 6k base, 5k shield, grade 0 with boost, auto when it's wrote upon if you win second, draw a card. Standard starter ability, nothing too special about it, except, and this is the big one, for most starters, I think this is the only deck that requires you to have a specific starter, because the grade 1 requires this one to be in soul to use its skill, or for it to have written from it. So, I like this starter, because it has been the kickstart to Bushy maybe of listening to my statements of give grade 0s reasons to be ran. Don't just give us random grade 0s that have no skills. Give us reasons to run those grade 0s in the full ride line. And Bushy listened, so I'm kind of glad about that. So I like the starter. It's really nice. It's the kickstart, and it looks really cool. So that's the starter for this deck. Next up, we have our triggers. We have our Run Over trigger and Dragon Deity, King of Resurgence, Dragveda, 5k shield, 5k base, 50k shield, grade 0 with boost. Over trigger, you may only have one over trigger in the deck. When revealed as a trigger, remove that card, draw a card, choose one of your units, and it gets plus 1 million for the turn. If revealed during a drive check, activates additional effect, which is choose one of your vanguards and stand it. Okay. So, you get the 1 million, normally used as a defensive, or sometimes this is really... If it's a defensive, the only way your opponent's getting past it is they pull their own trigger, or if you pull aggressively, depending on who you give it to, that would be really hard to stop unless they have a PG, but it's a lot easier to stop it than it is to take it, or attack into it. And the additional stand vanguard effect. Okay, I said this before in the Overlord video, I think it was, or Eugene, but I feel like the Overtrigger is mainly used for Nirvana, or Overlord, because Eugene doesn't need this. In fact, you're kind of getting yourself closer to decking out. I feel like Eugene would be better off with Obari or something along those lines, better than this. And this works okay in Bavsargra. I said I would get it right during this video, and I'm going to fail. So, I don't like it because it feels like it's only worth 2 of the decks, but I like it in this deck. I mean, it's the one I drive check it the least in somehow. I think this deck hates me with the Overtrigger, honestly, because I normally drive check this Overtrigger very much, and while I've play tested it very little, not because I don't enjoy it, just because I haven't had much time to play test it, it feels like the Overtrigger may resent me in this one. I'd still damage check, I just never drive check it anymore, so 1 copy of Dragveda. I feel like this deck is cursed. Other trigger-wise, we run 7 crit and 3 zone, 4 burning Flail Dragon. Yes, this is the same trigger lineup as my Nirvana deck. I straight up copied it, because I like the trigger lineup in Nirvana. The burning Flail Dragon is a 4k base, 15k shield, shout to Salt at the end of the battle that boosted. One of you gets plus 2. Okay, you do not run it for that plus 2. You have plenty of cards in this deck that are just plus 2s. You run it for that soul, because you do 10. If you go to the aggro side, I guess you soul blast a bit more than you soul charge, but hey, it's fine. Blaze Maiden Parama, continuous guard circle. If your opponent's vanguard's great, they're good. It's a 5k shield. Yeah, if you're playing this the way I do, you go aggressive really early on, or you brick with a bunch of orders. Having that 20k shield is really nice. And then we have our heal trigger and Blaze Maiden Rona. So, you want those fronts because you're mainly swinging with grade 1s most of the time, especially if you do it my way. First grade 3 turn, maybe you're swinging with a grade 2, but you're guaranteedly swinging with at least a column of grade 1s, especially if you do it my way. So the front trigger is really nice to pump up those grade 1s, and then after that, you're probably swinging with a whole field of grade 1s. So keep that in mind. That's not a misplay, by the way. That is genuinely just how I choose to play. It's how I used to play with the Lord, by the way, so it's a common thing for me. On to grade 1s, by the way. 3 copies of Stealth Dragon Kizanreiji, AK base, 5k shield, grade 1 with boost. Act rear once per turn, counterblast 1 and soul blast 1. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards in the same column as it and kill it. So, basically murder a unit in its column for a cost of counterblast 1 and soul blast 1. I would like this so much more if it was not counterblast. I know why it's counterblast. You originally were meant to use it in Eugene. Maybe you used it in Nirvana. I'm not so sure how people ran Nirvana. But it's not that good with the counterblast because the sword costs 2 counterblast and this costs another. So to get this off constantly, especially when you're mainly going to use it to kill the back row, is going to be like a kind of hard thing to pull off. Like if you are like me, we're in game run of the recording where you just didn't draw a single sword until the end of game, then go ahead, start using your counterblast whatever the fuck you feel like it. But otherwise, you gotta wait out, plus the shield costs a counterblast too, so you have to be wary of that. I think it's the shield. Yeah, the shield costs a counterblast to equip, the sword costs a counterblast, 2 counterblast to use. So, Kizanreiji, he's useful in the sense that if you can get him off, good. You can kill 3 rear guards at once when you use Bavsargra. 3 copies because he's at least a target. He's at least a column killer, and that's what's important. I would run Gojo, but I don't want to run Gojo because the Vanguard's not really hit fodder. Next up, we have Stealth Dragon Fushimachi Madoka. Now, this grade 1, I remember distinctly when I first saw it, I was like, I'm not going to use it. There's never going to be a deck I'm going to use this in. I have stand corrected. AK base, 5k shield, grade 1 with boost. Continues rear guard circle. If your opponent's drop has 4 or more cards, it gets plus 2k power and 5k shield. Then if there are 8 or more, 5k shield active on both players' turns. So it's a 10k base and a 15k shield if they have 8 or more. The 4 or more, really easy to hit, especially if you did what I did and just play against Zorga. It's almost guaranteed that you're going to get that. But 8 or more, once more, guaranteed if you're playing against Zorga. But it's really easy to get those numbers, especially with the new Vanguard rules where like the shields are restricted to cards. So they have to either guard with more or end up playing really aggressively, and you can just kill more cards because you're playing a deck that can somewhat murder rear guards. So I like Fushi. He's really nice. Get you that shield for the defensive power that you need. Then next turn, you can just call him back with Bavsargra skill, and he'll still get the +2 from his own skill because they still have drop zone cards. So 4 copies of Madoka. 4 copies of our PG and Twin Blocker Dragon, 6k base, grade 1 boost, 0 shield. Continue Sentinel, you have up to 4 Sentinels in the deck. Auto ones put on guard circle, choose one of your units, and it cannot be done in battle. If your hand has 2 or more cards, choose a card from hand and discard it. Standard PG, nothing too special about it. Just, you know, if you have this and only 1 other card in hand, you can use it as a PG and just block the entire attack. I forgot if it was Orphist or... I forgot if it was against Orphist or Zorga that I did this. I know it was Eugene and Bavsargra, because I did both the recordings in the same day. I don't remember who I did it with, but I know one of them, it was, I think it was Eugene, was really close to death, and if it wasn't for that skill, it would have been game over. So, thankfully that PG skill exists. It's really good. It comes in handy when you need it. And for some reason, it always comes in handy with my Dragon Empire decks, because those are the decks I play the most aggressively with for some fucking reason. So, Twin Buckler is really nice, especially because he is a grade 1 and Bavsargra. I'm going to keep calling her Bavsargra. It feels so weird to call her Bavsargra. She can call down grade 1s. So worst case scenario, if this is the only grade 1 and drop, hey, you're still getting grade 1 out of it, so you're still getting a field. So 4 copies. 3 copies, 1 in the main deck, 2 in the main deck, 1 in the ride deck of our grade 1 of the ride line, Sealed Blaze Dragon Namorkahr. 8k base, 5k shield, grade 1 boost. Auto when it's placed on van by riding from our Sealed Blaze Dragon Arhinsa, Soul Blast 1, and search your deck for up to 1 Sealed Blaze Sword Prithivih or Sealed Blaze Shield Swayanbuh. Reveal it, put it to your hand and shuffle your deck, and then auto rear when it attacks, it gets +2 for the battle. Okay, I like how this deck is somewhat similar to Zorga in the sense that you want to spam mortars every turn, but that alone makes me love this so much more than Zorga, because yeah, Zorga has the Soul Blast 1, you draw 2, you ditch 1, if you didn't ditch an order, you just 2. This is straight up, if you ride from the grade 0, Soul Blast it, and then you search your deck for either of your 2 main win cons. You search your deck for one of your 2 orders, either the defensive one or the aggressive one. For some reason, I rarely draw into either of them in my opening hand, and I have to use this to get one of them, and then I have to rely on top decking to get the other. But she's really good. Or she. It's really good because it gets you your main win con, and that 2k, well, it's not a lot in this deck. You see it a lot more than you see it in other decks because Bavsargra keeps calling it down successively by using a bunch of orders, and it's mainly your main attacker, especially if you play it my way, and it does hit 30 on occasion, so it's a good amount of guarding power. All around, this grade 1's really nice, so I say 2 of in the main deck, 1 of in the right deck. On to grade 2s. 4 copies of Patrol Dragon Scoutptero. Tero. I really like that they brought back the Terra line because those were one of my favorite cards back in the original Vanguard. I just loved all the pterodactyl cards, and I really hope they give us a ride line of pterodactyls. Can that be what represents Takikaze? I know it's not going to be what represents... I think Nirvana represents Takikaze, but if it's not Nirvana, can we get this to represent Takikaze? I would really like a pterodactyl main grade 3. I know it's not going to happen, but it's at least worth thinking. 10k base, 5k shield grade 2 with intercept. Auto rear. When this unit's boosted, it doesn't matter where it's swinging to as long as it's boosted. Counterblast 1, choose an opponent's grade 2 or lower rear guard, murder it, gets +2 for the battle. This is where I use up all my counterblast for. Not this thing, the column killer. I use it more on this thing. Mainly because this thing also costs a soul, and your main grade 3 and Prithivih do cost a soul to at least... You have to pay a soul to equip Prithivih, and you have to pay a soul to use Bavsargra's other skill. So, Scoutptero, I love this card to use it more because... you kill anything that's a grade 2 or lower. It doesn't have to be in the same column, followed by it's at least getting +2, so it's in 12k. And considering all the grade 1s here are 8k bases, it's at least a 20. If you combine with this as a 22, unless you boost it with the trigger, but that's very doubtful. So all around, Scoutptero is a really nice card to me. It's really good using. You can get rid of pesky interceptors or something else that's really annoying to get rid of. 4 of. I have actually used this thing a lot more than I thought I would. Because originally when I saw it reviewed, I thought I wouldn't use it at all unless I was building a budget deck. Well, I've used it more than I thought I would because it's been really helpful. And now our main grade 2. And our only grade. Our other only a grade 2, which we run at 3, 2 in the main deck, 1 in the ride deck, Sealed Blaze Dragon Halibadra. Halibadra! That is a Hail Hydra reference and a Battle Spirits reference smacked into one. If you know what Bladra is, then if you know what Battle Spirit is, you know what I'm referring to. If you don't know what it is, then wait for the stream, because I'm pretty sure we're going to go over it there. 10k base, 5k shield, grade 2 with intercept. Auto, when it's placed on van by riding from Sealed Blaze Dragon Namorkahr, choose an arms from your drop, put it to your hand. That's what your orders are. And this is just a free bounce 'em. And I like that, just like Husk Dragon, because those are the exact same skill. Husk Dragon will just add an order back. This is specifically an arm, so you can't just run multiple orders. But hey, that's still good, because you can just ride this from your starter, use it, Soul Blast the starter, search your deck for one of your orders, keep it in hand, next turn discard it for your ride deck cost, and then ride Halibadra, and then use its skill, get that order right back. So all around, really nice free ride deck cost. And then auto rear, when it attacks, if your Vanguard is armed, it gets plus 5k for the battle. So 15k swing, really easy to get, because if you equip the shield, you're probably going to be armed at all times. So 3 copies of this girl, because it's really nice having. 2 in the main deck, 1 in the ride deck. On to our grade 3s. The only grade 3 that's actually a normal unit, Sealed Blaze Maiden Bavsargra. That is going to probably be the last time I say it that way, because it's really annoying for me to say it that way. I prefer Bavsargra, and just because I've gotten so used to it. 4 copies, grade 3 200 Persona Ride. Yes, I run Persona Rides in this one. I only don't do it in Nirvana because I need the space. I might not do it in my Nirvana hybrid with this, for the record, but we'll leave that story for another day. Auto van once per turn. When it's armed, soul charge 1, choose a grade 1 from your drop or less, and call it to rear. So, pretty much, equip your item onto it like Buddy Fight would or anything else. Equip it, arm it, soul charge 1, it is mandatory, you don't have a choice, and you call a grade 1 or less. So basically get a trigger or any of these boys. I normally like to fish out Namorkahr, because that's normally the only grade 1 I have in drop zone at the moment. Or I fish out this one first, because this one is a permanent 10k, this one's only a 10k if it swings. So I'll normally fish out this one, but I never really have it in drop the first time I use it, so it's normally this guy that I'll bring out. Then I bring out this, and then typically I just call this from hand during early game for an early game rush, because that is applicable in this deck. So, really nice, can get your grade 1s back even after them being defensively used, so you never really have to worry about the grade 1s. That's what I like about it, because normally when I play defensively or when I use my guarding, I'm always wondering, if I guard with this, I can't get it back, unless I'm playing Zorga, because of course I can just bounce it back, but I can't make plays without them, because they're going to go straight to drop, and they're very few shield, which means I have to throw down more of them. Well, now, even if you do have to throw down more of them, you're getting them back in the end, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, they're going to field, but hey, they're at least being on field if you're trying to get them on field. And Act Van, once per turn, if this unit is armed with 2 or more cards, Soul Blast 2, retire all your opponent's front row, and it gets +1 crit. So a way to just nuke the front row if it's double armed, and get a crit. Now, that's really good, but I have the question of why does it say 2 or more? Because according to the wording of the shield and sword, when you arm one of the things to another where it says like left deity arm, you have to any other left deity arm goes to drop. And the gun and spear are known to be right and left deity arms, so it's currently impossible to do more than 2 unless they either make a set order, which I hope they do, that would allow this to be possible, or one of those 2 weapons, or they make a later weapon that also allows this to be possible. I am somewhat scared to find out what the true meaning behind this is, because I'm afraid one day I'll have to face it, but until then I'm safe. Either way, really nice. Get you that field nuke, get you the reuse of your grade 1s, I mean not field nuke, get you the front row nuke, get you the reuse of the grade 1s, and gives you that extra crit on Vayne for pressure, only when it's double armed for the second one, but still. I mean, get only double armed for the retire of the front row and the crit, but you still get that call regardless. I like this card so much, 4 of. It also makes Persona Ride really useful. Now on to our orders and our last 2 cards. 4 copies of Sealed Blade Sword Prithivih. Yes, I run both of them at 4. I want to run both of them at 4 because I want to increase my chance of seeing them, especially the sword, because they actually do have purpose to be played multiple times a turn. Play them each a turn just so you can get the soul charge and a call. Right deity arms, Sealed Blaze Maiden Bavsargra. After being played, I told you I was going to say it wrong. After being played, the specified Vanguard arms it. If a new right deity arms is armed, put that card to drop. So basically, you take a current right deity arms, you place it straight to drop if it's already armed to something. So that sucks. You have to constantly get rid of it. Another thing that I found funny about this, I forgot what it was, but I think it came from Buddy Fight, where you had to put stuff on certain sides of a card, but then its name always went to a different side. Like right deity arms. In my mind, it's supposed to go to your right, but how you place it on the Vanguard is it goes to the left, and that's how the art lines up. Now, I know it probably means like her right and her left, but it bothers me, and yet I find it so funny. I don't know why it's a thing that happens. But anyways, play it by Soul Blasting 1. Both of them are grade 3 normal orders, by the way. Auto Van, when this armed unit with this card attacks, the armed unit gets plus 10 for the battle, and at the end of the battle, if your opponent's damage zone is 4 or less cards, counterblast 2, put it to drop, choose an opponent's Vanguard, and deal a damage. I feel like this is meant to insult me, because I remember Dragneil, the thing, maybe not Dragneil, but like exotic dragon armor from Overlords, where I thought it was a D card, didn't realize it was an actual V card till my friend told me, hey, I didn't know D had gifts, and I didn't realize it until then that it was an actual V card, and this happens to have a similar skill to it. I don't know if this was Bushy just figuring this out and trying to insult me. I doubt it is, but I just find it coincidence that that's a thing. So it's a Soul Blast, not that hard to pull off, especially when you can just refill that cost with Bavsargra over here. Told you I would say it wrong. And it's a guaranteed on swing. You're getting plus 10 out of it. And then if you really want to, at the end of the battle, deal free damage if they have 4 less damage by counterblasting 2 opponent kid to drop. Making it so you don't have to waste it constantly playing sword over sword. You can just sword at the end of the turn, at the end of the battle, destroy that sword, and then next turn, play the sword again. So all around, really nice order, 4 of. And then 4 of our final card and our next order. Sealed Blaze Shield Swayanbuh. Grade 3 normal order as well. Left deity arm, Sealed Blaze Maiden Bavsargra. Yeah, I tried that time. After being played, the specified Vanguard arms it. If a new left deity arms is armed, put this card into drop zone and play it by counterblasting 1. Auto Van once per turn. When the unit armed with this card is attacked, the armed unit gets plus 10 for the battle. So it's a once per turn ability, so you can use it whenever you want, which is the really nice part. So you can take the first attack, then use it on the second attack, and then just get that 10k shield. Really nice. Defend yourself with it, and all around it's a good order. It makes guarding a lot easier, especially when you can kind of go with the good old grade 1 rush of Bavsargra over here. Straight up though, I have abused that so many times, and that actually has helped me make plays with it. So 4 copies of this order because it's really nice. I do question why it has these demon horns. I just feels really out of place. I don't know why. Normally I overlook the card arts of a lot of cards, but for some reason this stands out to me and it bothers me immensely. Does the sword have it? No, it doesn't. So why? This part bothers me a lot. I don't know why it does. And that was the deck. So it's really fun playing, in my opinion. It all honesty really is. You got a good amount of defensives. You can play really aggressively with grade 1 aggro. You can rush really early and not really suffer much from it unless they rush you right back with something along the lines of Orfist. A deck that has a lot of power can beat this. If it has, especially if you play it my way where you go rushing, if your deck has a lot of power and can rush really quickly, then yes, it will probably win. But if it doesn't have both of those, it's a high chance that it will probably result in this deck winning. Like, if it has one of those, it's a 50-50. But if it has neither of those, this deck will probably win. If it cannot rush and it cannot hit big numbers quickly, boom, it's over. Like, even if it can rush and get big numbers, if it can't do it quick enough, this deck can easily take the advantage. So, all around, it's a nice deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like if you like it. Comment so I can talk to the people who watch this because I like talking to you guys. Donate to the Patreon. Sub so you can just sub to the channel, help it grow. Turn on the notification button so you can see when new videos come up. And I'll see you all in the next one. Don't forget to stand up your vanguards.